Hello, I'm Ollie and this is CriminOlly, where I talk about crime, pulp, horror, that kind of thing. Today, more stupid answers to sensible questions. It's episode 4 of Ask CriminOlly. So I'm still reasonably full of COVID this morning. I don't feel too bad. I've woken up feeling not too bad. But I woke up feeling not too bad yesterday and did a video and then progressively felt worse through the day. So I'm going to keep this one brief. Okay, so first question is from Williams Library. The question is, do you read fan fiction? Some authors are flattered by fan fiction while others hate it. What do you think? I don't. I was trying to think if I've ever read any fan fiction, like true fan fiction, as in, self-published fiction by fans. I've read a lot of stuff which I think you would call pastiche stuff. So where authors, where a new author does a new take on an existing character. So, for instance, there are still James Bond books being published by other authors, which I guess in kind of a way of fan fiction. I don't think I've ever read any true fan fiction. I think it's great though. I say that not having read it, but I love the idea of it. I think it's wonderful that people love a set of characters and a world so much that they invest their own time in creating new stories within that world. I think that's brilliant. And I think authors should be flattered by that. I guess I kind of see why they might not be at some points, but I think it's a good thing. Okay, next question is from DDB. So he's got two questions actually. So firstly, hypothetical, there's a bomb on your kitchen table. Do you cut the red wire or the blue wire? So that is definitely a hypothetical question because I don't have a table in the kitchen. I've got the dining room table, which I'm at now. So if I'm assuming there's a bomb on here, I will cut the red wire. Red is danger, isn't it? So you've got to cut the red wire. And then he has a more serious question as well. How many hours a day do you devote to reading? And it varies, but basically I spend most of my free time when I'm not either doing things with my family or doing things to BookTube, reading. So I don't watch, I don't really watch TV much. I will watch things with my family, but I never watch TV on my own. So probably an hour or two a day during the week when I'm working, and more than that at the weekend. So maybe 3 hours a day, 3 or 4 hours a day at the weekend, potentially. But it really does vary. It's certainly not a set thing. It's just, when I have free time, I read. Okay, next question from Scott Pearson. And apologies, actually, I should have said apologies to all the people whose questions I'm answering because it has taken me a long time to catch these questions. These are questions from towards the end of July. And the reason for that is I've just had a ton of questions. I've had a lot more questions than I expected to, and I'm not in the habit of making really, really long videos. So yeah, I'm just doing 3 or 4 questions per video, which means it takes me a while to get through. Anyway, I digress. So Scott Pearson asks, I'm a science fiction fan. Can you recommend any trashy science fiction? There's a series of books I read a while ago. I don't think I finished the series, but they were definitely trashy and they were absolutely fantastic. And that's the Deathstalker series by Simon R. Green, which is this. It feels very much like that kind of old pulpy kind of Flash Gordon style sci-fi with people travelling all over the universe and having battles, and there's really they go to they'll go to a planet in one book that's really weird, and his imagination, he just lets his imagination run wild. They're really, really fun, really entertaining. I definitely recommend that series if you haven't read it. I don't read an awful lot of science fiction. I do read some, but I don't read a hell of a lot. And when I do read it, I tend to read more kind of, what's the word I'm looking for? Probably slightly more serious type of science fiction rather than the kind of pulpy fun stuff. What I would say is Working Man Reads just put up a video the other day where he went through some trashy science fiction paperbacks he had So if you don't follow his channel, he talks about this kind of stuff a fair bit. So I'll put a link to his channel in the description for the video. You should definitely check him out. He's great. Okay, and then the final question for today is from A Love of Halloween. How often do you purge books from your personal library? Do you find yourself buying ebooks more than physical copies for the sake of space limitations? So I don't purge very often. It tends to be, I certainly don't have a routine for purging books. So it tends to be, I just kind of buy books. And then at some point I'll get to the point where I've got like a ton of books that I've had for over 2 years and just haven't read and no longer want to read. And those will go off to charity. So really that's how I do purging. It's just, when it gets to the point where I just feel like I've got too many books lying around and I know there are some now that I'm definitely not going to read, because I am a bit of a fickle buyer of books. I do tend to kind of buy books on a bit of a whim, and sometimes that whim passes fairly quickly and I've left with books I don't want to read. So I do purge every so often, but not with any kind of regularity or any rhyme or reason to it, really. I do buy more ebooks than physical books. I buy a hell of a lot of ebooks, and the fact that they don't take up physical space is a joy. The fact they don't have a physical presence, also has its drawbacks in that it's quite nice to be able to handle a book. But yeah, I do mostly buy. You might not believe it, but I buy more ebooks than I do physical books. And I do read, I read ebooks a fair bit as well. But I've also, my Kindle is heaving with unread books. So yeah, space is always a concern. The house is not a huge house. Hopefully, I've ordered my new bookcases for the office, so they will be coming in the next week or two. So hopefully I'll be back filming the office soon with bookcases behind me filled with books, which will be lovely. But yeah, space-wise, ebooks win out every time. Okay, that's me done for today then. My throat is already starting to feel a bit scratchy, so I'm going to leave it there. But as always, if you've got questions, either leave them in the comment with Ask CriminOlly at the start, or if you want to ask a question anonymously, email me at criminolly@gmail.com. But until next time, thank you very much for watching. Hope you're safe and well. Hope you're reading good stuff, and I'll speak to you again very soon. Cheerio.